Hi, Scrapbookers. This is Megan, and I am back with a fun new series I'm going to be doing with Hannah Lemieux. So, we worked together on the SNL design team for 6 months this year, and that was back in the spring and a little bit into the summer. And we kind of miss doing challenges together. So I picked out this sketch that I just showed you, and we are both going to use it as our challenge piece today. And we are going to be doing a sketch challenge every Tuesday for the next 5 weeks. We might do it for longer, but we're going to kind of see how it goes and probably take a break for the holiday season, just because it's going to be getting really busy with Christmas and everything. So we wanted to start now and just kind of see how it went. So I have had this sketch pinned on my Pinterest board for a very long time. And when I got this kit that had these Pink Fresh Studio Happy Things triangles in the kit, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to make this layout. But this layout actually just completely goes a different direction. So here I'm just trying to place them all out on the layout and trying to work around them. I'm getting kind of frustrated with them, so I move on to the photo, and I'm going to mount the photo on this vellum sheet that has some triangles on it. Here I'm thinking, oh, hey, I could have this vellum sheet be one of the triangles. That would be kind of cool looking. And I go to cut it out, and then I'm like, no, you know what? I want it to be a little bit bigger, like longer triangle. And because that's what the sketch showed. The sketch showed a lot of long, really big triangles. And when I had thought, oh, I'm going to use these Pink Fresh acetate pieces, I kind of threw that idea out the window. But here I decided to go back to the actual sketch. So here I cut off this piece of this. I don't even know what kind of a pattern that is. It's like a triangle pattern. Um, it's like two-tone triangles. And I kind of like that. And then I had this extra piece of, I don't even know what paper it is, but it was from the Happy Things collection from Pink Fresh Studio. And then there was also this paper that is from the Wonder collection. And I'm just going to cut this one out by hand, and I'm also going to use my silhouette to cut out a really long triangle. And I really do like the way this layout turned out in the end. It kind of took a couple days for me to get used to it, and I mean, I'm still kind of like, whoa, it's kind of crazy and busy with all of the different patterns of papers and everything that's going on. But I think I don't know, like it didn't turn out as awesome as I had hoped it would, but I still really like how it turned out. So here is where I am trying to still use those acetate pieces, those acetate triangles, and I'm just going to kind of fiddle around with them. And some of them are going to end up on the layout, but just not as many as I had originally envisioned being on the layout. So here I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to cut this Pink Fresh Studio paper, and I'm going to cut it really long like that other one that I just did. But then I'm like, no, I don't want to mess it up. And I want it to be, this really cool looking um, piece. So I decide to cut a smaller piece and just do a hand cut triangle. And so that one works out, and I really like that. So I'm going to stop it here in a minute, and I'm going to go over to my silhouette and mess around with making a triangle and getting a couple other shapes cut out. So here I had a couple shapes cut out with my silhouette. So I had this gray with the leaves, the white leaves on it, and then I had those other three triangles that I had already cut out by hand. And then there was this one that was a leftover piece. And so I'm going to cut this one down to be a little bit smaller, and I really, really like how that looks. I also had this chevron piece of paper. I believe that was from the, not the Pink Fresh Studio, that was from the Wonder Collection, that chevron one that I'm messing with there right now. And so here I'm just trying to place these triangles around on the layout. This layout took quite a while. I told you it kind of, I had this idea in my head and it just didn't go as I had planned. And so it took an hour and 15 minutes about to do this page. So yeah, this is where I decide that, you know what, I'm going to start bringing in more of these greens and blues and yellows from the Wonder Collection. And because I was kind of wanting it to just be the blues and the kind of whites, but then I saw this pattern and I was like, you know, I like that. It's kind of bold and it's kind of crazy, but Brynnan, this is my middle son Brynnan, last year on his baptism day, and he is, you know, kind of a bold kid and just crazy, and so this layout fits him perfectly. And I think this is one of my favorite photos that I took of him that day. After his baptism, we came home and I did a little photo shoot session with him, and he really loved that. Like I have like 20 or 30 photos just of him and me and him and his grandparents and stuff. And so it was fun making this layout. I showed it to him the day after I made it and he was like, "Oh, Mom, I love it." Like he was so excited. So here I'm just fudging and messing around with all of these triangles. I do that a lot on this layout, and I think in a minute I'm going to be like, you know what, screw this. I just need to start gluing these down because it was just driving me crazy. I couldn't make up my mind where things were going to go, and it was just, yeah, it was kind of a stressful layout. Like I didn't intend it to be that way, but sometimes you just kind of stress yourself out. Yeah, so there I finally glued down two of those pieces up top, and here I'm going to glue down this chevron piece down there, and it's actually going to end up being underneath the photo mostly. And now I'm going to glue down these last two triangles, and I'm finally happy. So yay! And I'm still thinking, oh, it still does need a little bit more, like more triangles. It still looks a little bit bare. So I pull out this one that I had cut out earlier, and I'm thinking, oh, the photo needs something like another layer behind it to help it stand out. And so I had this previously cut piece of this red and kind of off-whitish paper, and that is from the Wonder Collection. And then I wanted to put another paper behind that one. So here I'm going through a couple of these Happy Things papers, and I really like this one with these half circles. And so that one is going to be a mat all the way around the whole photo and layers. So here I'm just going to cut that out. And this is where I decide, oh, this looks kind of cool. I like this little, the half circles. So I cut that into a triangle and I place it down there on the bottom. I also had this extra piece of that paper that I had also mounted the photo on. And so I cut that into a triangle and I'm going to place it there. Now here I'm going to cut off all of these overhanging pieces, and then I'm going to start embellishing the kit. And I decided to do some stamping on this kit, and I'm really excited. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I forgot. I decided to use some of these old thickers that to pop up the photo. I saved these because I wanted to do this exact thing with them. I got the idea off of Facebook. I think it was Nicole Jones's site. I'm not sure who it was that said, "Hey, look at this use I found for, those stickers that we don't use, like X's and Q's and Z's and everything." And so I saved these just for this purpose, and so I decided to use them, and they worked out perfectly. Some of the glue on the foam did come up, so I did have to use my Tombow Aqua Glue to glue them down just to give them a little bit more strength. Okay, so I glued the photo down, and now I'm not sure where I ran off to, but yeah, there I am. Okay, I was gonna say, I didn't think it was gonna be that long. So here I'm thinking I need to make like a little banner or something on the photo, and then I was like, no, I don't like that, the way that looks, and I try a couple other places on the layout and just don't like it. So I scratched that idea, and here I am going to put out some of these acetate pieces again from the Pink Fresh Studio Happy Things kit. And I am going to fuss with this for a little while. They do not end up the way that you see them now, and a lot of fussing going on. So the way that I use my kits, I am subscribed to Click Kits, and what I do is I keep all the papers out. I just kind of throw them on my desk and leave them there, or I put them on my chair while I'm scrapbooking because I usually scrapbook standing up. And then that little green container that you can see right there to the left of um, my layout, that is where I keep all of the embellishments and the project life cards and things like that. So that's kind of how I do things with my kits. So there I was thinking, oh, it would be nice if I had a tiny attacher. I could just staple this little acetate piece on there, but I do not have a tiny attacher, unfortunately. I should just break down and buy one, but I hate it. Like, why pay $16 for something when like I have a stapler, even though it doesn't look as cool as the little tiny staples. And I tried, like I did pull out my stapler and was like, oh, maybe I will use it, but then no, they were just too big and I just didn't like the way it looked. So here I'm just kind of fiddling with where I want each one of these placed. And finally, I'm happy with where I have them. So I'm using my Tombow Mono or my Tombow Aqua Glue to glue them down. And I just want to say don't do that, because I have learned that the Aqua Glue is not friends with acetate. The acetate piece will fall off, and very, very easily. Like, I think I was redoing the title and one of the pieces came off and I was like, what? I just glued you down. So acetate and Tombow Aqua Glue do not mix, just so you know. So once the layout is finished, I do use some glue Zots, and those work really well, so far at least. Okay, so here I am pulling out a few different stamp sets. On the, let's see, on the sketch, there were like some areas where it had like some chevrons and things. And I was like, oh, I could do like a chevron stamp or something. I'm trying to get better about using up my stamps. I've been buying a little bit more stamps, and I've had tons of stamps come in kits and things like that. So here I pulled out a couple different triangle pieces, and I'm kind of annoyed that I used them. Like, I totally shouldn't have, but I really did like this chevron stamp that came in a Close to My Heart set that I bought. So I'm going to stamp that all over the layout using my StazOn ink, and I just ink it up, and then I do 2 stamps and then I re-ink it is how I do it. So I'm just doing that kind of all over the place on the layout. And here I'm going to embellish that little corner with some stamps down there on the right hand side. And now I'm done with that. So here I'm going to pull out oh, I do put away the stamp, and then here I'm gonna pull out some of these triangle pieces. And I thought these looked really cool, and so I was like, I can just do like a little stamped cluster. And I should have just stopped there, but I didn't. And I kept going and kept going and kept going. And so finally I'm done with that one, I think. Oh, one more, two more. And so then I clean off that stamp and I'm going to put that one away. And I really, really wish I would have stopped there, but I had two more stamps that I wanted to use, and so I'm not going to stop there. Oh, I forgot that I did have, as part of that Studio Calico stamp set, it said "So Loved," and I really, really liked how that looked. It was like in cursive, and so I decided to stamp that in 3 places on the layout. Oh, excuse me, big yawn. And so now I'm going to put that one away. And then here is where I go way too far. So I had these 2 triangle pieces, and I'm just going to stamp them next to that other triangle piece that I had stamped just previously. And yeah, that's where it kind of goes a little bit crazy. I wish I would have just stuck with just doing the little chevron strip, because that looked really nice. But oh well, you can't really go back and change it now, so what's done is done. But anyway, so here I'm just cleaning up my stamps and putting away the ink pad, and now I'm going to do the title. And this kit came with the Pink Fresh Studio Alpha, and hold on real quick. It is called, I guess it's just called Happy Things. So it's from the Happy Things collection, and it's glitter foam stickers, which is really funny because they don't really look that glittery to me. And they're not really foamy either. They're like a mix between foam and chipboard. It's really weird, but they're really nice, and I wanted to use them on this layout, so I decided to. And then I'm going to turn the camera off and completely change it, and it's going to look so much better. So I asked Hannah what she thought of my layout, like, is it too crazy? And she was like, well, maybe you could change the alpha like to a black alpha, and that would make it not look so crazy. And so that's what I do, and you'll see it in the photos. I took the photos with the black alpha that I'm going to leave on the layout, and it does. It looks so much better. So thanks, Hannah, for that advice. Don't you just love having scrappy friends that you can ask questions and they're like, you should do this? It's really awesome. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, so here I'm just kind of playing around with the placement of the title, and then I'm going to stick it down. And that's going to take a little bit. I'm going to kind of fuss with that for a while. So yeah, so Hannah and I are going to be doing a new sketch every Tuesday, like I said earlier. So you can come back every week for the next 5 weeks, and we will have a new sketch layout for you guys. We're really excited about this. When our SNL term ended together, I was kind of bummed. I was like, oh, I've loved doing this. It's really fun to collaborate with people. Okay, so here I'm just using a few of these Pink Fresh Studio Wood Veneer Hearts, and I'm just spreading those around on the layout. Oh, and I also used some triangles too. And I was thinking maybe I'm going to do some misting, and I pulled it all out, and then I was like, you know what? No, it's busy enough. It looks good. I am done. So that is the end of my layout. Make sure you go on over to Hannah's channel and check out the layout that she made with this sketch. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.